Starting off, we have the 2019 Detroit Tigers at the deliberately offensive. The offensive has a dandy of an opportunity here. They lie even in the standings with the Turnpikes for the final playoff spot in the group, and they get to take on the winless Tigers while the Turnpikes host the undefeated weak prescriptions. They're sending slugger Ted Williams out to the mound today, whose final pitching appearance occurred during the 1992 All-Star Game. Yeah, there he is. You can clearly see he's several feet off the rubber, so they had no choice to rule it a balk. Since they couldn't enforce any sort of penalty, it being a pregame pitch, they decided to suspend Ted Williams from all future baseball activities in the MLB. A true American tragedy. The Tigers fire the opening salvo with an RBI single by Nick Castellanos, followed by another off the bat of Ronnie Rodriguez. Ronnie was done in the MLB after the embarrassment of the 2019 Detroit season and currently plays in Japan. But here in the Dugs, he's having quite the tourney, batting .391 with 2 home runs and 4 RBIs. Bottom of the second, and I think Barry Bonds is going to like Coors Field. That's a solo shot from Barry, bringing the deliberately offensive back to within 1. And then, in the third, it's a 2-out double by Tris Speaker, scoring Cap Anson to even the scoring up at 2-2. But the Tigers have something to say about it. As much as the offensive wants to make the playoffs, the Tigers are fighting to avoid the skunk. No one wants to be the first winless team in Doug's history. In a little pitcher-on-pitcher action, Jordan Zimmerman singles up the middle to put the Tigers back up, and then Victor Reyes is first pitch swinging and brings Jordan home on the 2-run shot. 5-2 Detroit. Miguel Cabrera brings another home on a single, so the offensive go into the bottom of the fourth, down 4. I think it took the offensive a few innings to stretch out and breathe in the new digs. We haven't done anything in the holiday spirit yet, so let's get on that. On the first day of Christmas, Melot gave to me a home run. Mike Schmidt gave to me a home run. 3-run shot. Game tie. Cap Anson gave to me a home run. Offensive is up 1. 8-7 now, and Willie Mays gave to me a home run. It's 10-8 offensive, and Melot hits a grand slam. And Robin Young goes back-to-back, putting the offensive up 15-8. And they win, going to 3-2. I think it's safe to say the deliberately offensive like playing in Coors Field. They hit 7 dingers, owning 2 of them, along with 6 RBIs. Detroit's Matt Boyd got lit up more than anyone, giving up 8 over 4 innings. Offensive puts some serious pressure on the Turnpikes, going up a half game in the standings and adding a juicy +7 to their run differential, which comes into play should they tie.
Glory days travel north to the land of milk and honey, or at least the land of ice and syrup, as they battle the group leaders Union Jacks in Canada. The Jacks dropped a surprise one last time out, but they can clinch a playoff place with a win today. The pitching matchup is a good one. Jason Jennings goes for Glory days, a man who hit a home run and pitched a complete game shutout in his major league debut. He's opposed by Danny Cox, a starter in the 85 and 87 World Series and a reliever and champion at the 93 World Series. So this one starts out like a pitching duel, as you see here in the third. This may not be the boat race, but a strong British Cox is important for the Union Jacks, and Danny is dealing right now. Walton pops out, and then is that the letter J in Russian? No, it just looks like that because it's back-to-back Ks for Jennings and Lestache. Bottom of the third, and Jason Jennings is matching Cox at every inning. He strikes out his opposite number, bringing up Nicole. Can Nicole get on base? That's a Renault. Oh papa. Deep cut reference there, well done if you got it. Tom Brown flies out and we're scoreless through 3. Bottom of the fourth, and there's still no runs on the board. Dick Higham, the only umpire to be banned from baseball, yet still not noteworthy enough to be on Wikipedia's list of noteworthy people from Ipswich, doubles. Thompson strikes out, so with 2 outs it's down to Hope Ferris. Perhaps not the best place to be, as Hope here holds the record for the lowest on-base percentage of any Major League ball player in history. So wouldn't you know it, he hits a clutch single, and Higham legs it home for the first score of the game. Bottom of the fifth, and the Union Jacks double their advantage when the head from Hereford, Dave Breen, hits a sac fly to make it 2-0. Glory days need to find a way to get Cox out, and they start to string together some hits in the 6th. We pick it up with 2 men on, one of them inexplicably being Dontrell #1 pinch hitter Willis, and 1 out as Crosby singles to finally get Glory days a run. But they don't stop there, because Walt Droppo shows off his love of British boy bands as everything changes. Take that. It's 4-2 Glory Days. Bottom of the 6th, and Bobby Thompson loves boy bands too, because that ball is hit perfect, one direction, straight out of the park, and he immediately gets one of those runs back. Still, the Jacks are in danger of dropping 2 straight, but they get help when Lestache, who only ever made one error at second in his entire Major League career, makes an error at second. That scores a run, and we're back where we started, all tied up. That's going to mean extra innings, and we don't have a runner on second base because we may have just plucked players from history and cobbled together weird teams for playing a virtual game that we're pretending is real, but we're not that stupid. Glory Days don't score in the top, so chance for the Jacks to secure their playoff spot. Bases loaded, but Hall the King's horses and Hall the King's men can't get that run in. In other words, George Hall flies out. But here's Tom Brown, and the Scouser steals it for the Union Jacks with a walk-off infield single. Union Jacks win 5-4 and secure their playoff spot with 1 game remaining. They can thank their bullpen, which came out when Cox went in and threw 4 scoreless innings, surrendering only 2 hits. Hope Ferris went 4 for 5 at the plate to lead the way for the Jacks, while Droppo's 3-run shot for Glory Days wasn't enough, and they find themselves in a 3-way shootout for the final playoff spot.
Moving on to the week prescriptions at the New Jersey Turnpikes. The Turnpikes are up against it now. They need a win here to keep pace with the deliberately offensive, and the bigger the win, the better, as they've got some ground to pick up in the run differential game. Making the start for the Turnpikes is Terry Larkin. Back in the very first video, I gave you a little overview of how Terry ended up on the Turnpikes. What with the attempted murder of a police officer and his wife, who was later axe-murdered by her sister. Anyways, yeah, that guy. Well, unbelievably, it turns out that was only half the story. After he retired, he became a bartender, was fired in 1886, got disgruntled, and challenged his boss to a duel. His boss turned him down, provoking Terry to pull a pistol and point it at his boss's head. His boss eventually escaped, locked him in the bar, and had him arrested, sending Terry away to prison where he later took his own life. Not the kind of guy I'd want to make angry. He's in trouble here in the first with the bases loaded and 1 out, and Gary Matthews opens the scoring. Dave Winfield keeps the conga line going, 2-0 prescriptions. Base is still loaded, no 1 out, and here's one of the hottest hitters in the tourney in Ray Durham. He sends a shot out to center field, but it's a brilliant diving grab by Ron LaFleur to hold the effort to a dramatic sac fly. So the prescriptions get 1 more to put the Turnpikes down 3-0, and that's where we sit after the first. The prescriptions are going with the interesting decision of bringing Bill Daly back out on short rest, despite having a commanding lead in the group. He absolutely dominated his last time out with 12 Ks in a complete game. That's got to be a little triggering for the Turnpikes, who are desperately trying to stay relevant in the playoff race. He picks up right where he left off, striking out LaFleur, then Sheffield, and Pierce Chiles. He's out of the inning by striking out the side on 10 pitches in the first. Top of the second, 2 down, and Jeter hits a ground ball that should get the Turnpikes out of the inning unscathed, and oh no! That's Gary Sheffield over at third with the muff. Well, hopefully that doesn't come back to haunt New Jersey. First and second now, and Gary Matthews rips a double, scoring Jeter. That'll be another unearned run. Winfield singling, Bottomley scoring another unearned run. It's getting uncomfortable in the ballpark. Durham singling, Matthews scoring, and there's another unearned run. Number 4 on the day. Larkin has had it. We value our presence on YouTube, so we're not going to show you what happened next. But there was a sizable delay in the game in which the pitching rubber, Gatorade machine, 3 clubhouse shower heads, 1 concession stand, deep fryer, a staircase railing, 4 televisions, a sundae headed for the luxury boxes, and 3 rows of right-field bleachers needed to be replaced. Thank goodness this happened in a Turnpikes game, as the squad had any number of drugs on hand and were able to sedate the irate Terry Larkin and stash him at the Gateway Transportation Center near the park while they awaited the next train out of town. It being St. Louis, no one noticed anything out of the ordinary. Back to the action, there are still a couple of runners on base that belong to Terry Larkin here as Blackie Schwam comes in to try this unearned onslaught. It's Todd Zeal up, and someone better slip Larkin another Mickey because that one's gone. That gets the score up to 10-0, and the Turnpikes likely just saw their playoff hopes die. So the week prescriptions go to 5-0, and this is big news for their team as well. This locks up the top playoff slot out of Group A, so they'll be facing off against the 2nd seed out of Group B with home field advantage. Dave Winfield was perfect at 4-4. Despite the short rest, Bill Daly went out there and turned in another gem, going 5 2/3, striking out 10 and only giving up 2 earned runs. The Turnpikes couldn't bounce back from that Gary Sheffield error, which is always a tough pill to swallow in the game that may have served as your death note.
Following their shock win over the Union Jacks, the Big Bones can keep their slim playoff hopes alive with a win over the Banana Fananas today. However, the Yellow Fruits won the reverse matchup and can both eliminate the hefty hitters and underline their own playoff credentials with a win today. It's a crucial matchup in the Doug's experimental baseball tournament. Last time out, the Big Bones relied heavily on Bill Boyd and Jesus Aguilar, and that continues here with back-to-back doubles. First Boyd gets to second, then Jesus Aguilar, a man who once showed his Big Bones credentials when his belt burst open during a game, drives him home. That belt couldn't contain Jesus, and neither can Banana Fananas starting pitcher Cal McClish. McClish will settle down though, and that gives the Banana Fananas a chance to come back. Bottom of the fourth, and they have them loaded for Johnny Dickshot, but that Dickshot isn't far enough to score, and CC Sabathia has a chance to get out of it. But no! Tony Suck with a 2 RBI single, earning the right to be called Tony Doesn't Suck for the rest of this video. Unfortunately for him, that will be the last time he's mentioned. Bottom of the fifth, the male version of a Wonder Bra, Dick Padden, is at the plate. He reaches on an error, which can perhaps be attributed to the fact Jesus Aguilar is not now, nor has ever been, a shortstop. Padden would make his way to third on a steal and a fielder's choice, and Coco Crisp makes it 3-1 to the Banana Fananas. After giving up that run in the first, Cal McClish has been stellar for the Banana Fananas. If you remember from our roster reveal, his real name is Calvin Coolidge Julius Caesar Tuscahoma McClish, named because his father finally got a chance to name his 7th child, and apparently then used all the names he'd missed out on using for his first 6. This ended up being a bit of a mouthful for his teammates, so he adopted the nickname Buster. However, this too ended up being too much of a mouthful for his apparently syllable-challenged teammates in Brooklyn, and so Calvin Coolidge Julius Caesar Tuscahoma McClish became Bus. A 93% decrease in letters, and a 100% disappointment to his father. Anyway, you wait for ages for a single off Bus, and 2 come along at once, here in the top of the 6th. There's 2 men on for both Dimitri Young and Evan Gattis, but Bus gets them both to fly out. Miguel Sano, though, who is having a fantastic tournament, cuts the lead to 3-2 with a single. No longer rusty, the well-lubricated Kuntz gets that run right back in the 7th. And we head to the 9th with the Banana Fananas on top 4-2. The Bus is still in this game because he prided himself on his stamina. In fact, in 1944, his then teammate Eddie Basinski said of Bus that he'd be able to pitch every day, also demand any kind of money he wanted and get it. Well, he couldn't and he didn't, and he's struggling here. 2 men are on and no one out, but with his last effort, he gets Carlos Lee to ground into a double play. He leaves after getting 26 of the 27 outs, and Dizzy Trout is brought on in relief. Now hold on, you might say, isn't Dizzy Trout a starter who has already been on the mound recently? Well, yes, but who are we to question the game management decisions of... Oh, damn it, Johnny! We forgot to give the team's managers. Well, this unusual decision doesn't seem to matter, as Trout gets a ground ball to end the game. But no, Dick Padden with the error. What a Richard! This game's not over, it's 4-3, 2 outs, and Aguilar! Call it Alma Llanera because that is a big hit from Venezuela, and the Big Bones take the lead in the 9th. Can Jonathan Broxton close it out for the Big Bones? 118 career saves, but none bigger than this. He lets the tying run get on, but then induces a ground ball to short, and it's Aguilar again, making up for his earlier error and showing Dick Padden just how to play short. Again, remember, Aguilar is not a shortstop, but today he is a Big Bones legend as they come from behind to win. What a game! And after losing their first 3 matchups, the Big Bones are now leading the way for the second playoff spot in Group B. Far more exciting than Johnny Paprika's Group A, but I suppose we'll look at those games too next time up. But in Group B, I'll be bringing you the Banana Fananas against the Union Jacks, and glory days at Big Bones as the final playoff push comes down to the wire. With all this excitement, how can you not like and subscribe? Until then, I'm Hamish Hamden, and the Dugs are heating up.